Hello, everybody, and greetings wherever you are. Coming to you from Seattle to invite you one more time to what has been a continuing series of 50th anniversary events for Opportunity International. 50 years, 250 million lives impacted, 50 million families, $21 billion. I could go on, but tonight is not about the numbers, it's about the people. Tonight we gathered to unveil for you Opportunity's virtual art gallery, what we're calling the Portrait of a Waymaker. For those of you who don't know about Opportunity, we are an international organization, focuses on helping the poorest of the poor, the people at the very bottom of the pyramid, change their lives, giving them the financial resources, the training and the support they need to start businesses, build livelihoods, and make a way out of poverty. Tonight is about them. We've gathered together some of our most illuminating, striking photographs of the people we call Waymakers. They're making their way out of poverty, leading themselves and their families on their own 2 feet. Telling you about the stories is our staff and actually some of the clients themselves to share the stories of their lives. Following that, we'll be joined by our board member, Opportunities board member, Janelle, Lassonde, who's going to talk to you about her own Waymaker story of being a longtime supporter and partner with Opportunity, and how tonight, as you look at these photographs, engage with the live stories, and on Giving Tuesday, give tonight, your gifts are going to get multiplied 20 times. Following Janelle is Nick Cosgrove, a Broadway star and showmaker and music maker, coming to you with a special music for tonight. But without further ado, and to get you started on this journey and get myself off the screen and get our clients on, let me turn this over to our museum curator, my staff member, Erin Doherty. Erin, over to you.
Thank you so much, Atul. It is such a pleasure to be with you all tonight and to share the stories of the people who inspire us daily at Opportunity. You'll hear from the clients themselves and from staff who have sat with them, served with them, and just listened. Opportunity International has always listened to our clients and followed their need. Over the last 50 years, the needs have changed. At one point, the need was to make services accessible to women. Another time, it was to provide insurance so that disaster wouldn't wipe out their progress against poverty. Then it was bringing a different kind of bank to markets where others refuse to serve people in poverty. Now, as we look ahead, we see one last need on the horizon. People living in extreme poverty survive on less than $2 a day. And they are ambitious. They are willing to work hard and they want a different future. But when your daily trade-offs mean you're sacrificing one basic need for another, it's difficult to believe there might be a better path for you. These 10 portraits offer a glimpse into their challenges, their transformations, and how together you and I can help them make a way for their future. So without further ado, welcome to Portrait of a Waymaker.
We entered the home of 30-year-old Santosh and were offered a mat on the ground to sit on. We got settled and the men left. And only then did Santosh remove the scarf that was acting as a veil, and we saw her face. One of 8 children, Santosh never went to school. Her parents used what little money they had to send her brothers instead. Santosh can't read or write, and she struggled to find the words to express why she's so adamant her daughters won't miss out on the opportunities she did. Despite the many traditions that hinder Santosh's freedom, a small loan is bringing about vital change. By securing this loan, Santosh has newfound respect from her family, and now she's seen as forward-thinking and a part of the business. She was growing in confidence, and as the family's income grows, she'll make sure her daughters get to stay in school. With this loan, Santosh was now daring to dream for her children. I asked her, "What do you want for your own children?" She doesn't list off top-paying occupations like a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. Instead, she simply says one word: choice. She's building a life where her daughters can choose to be what they want to be and have the freedom and the confidence to make it so.
Me conocí con el papá de mis hijas. Cuando empiezo mi vida con él, empecé a vivir eso, el maltrato, los golpes, las patadas. Él siempre decía, vos vas a necesitar de mí, vos no vas a poder vivir sin mí, vos siempre vas a necesitar de mí, porque una mujer no puede vivir sola. Y todas esas cosas a mí se me habían metido en la cabeza y yo decía, y es cierto, la mujer necesita de un compañero. Hoy me siento completamente diferente porque las mujeres podemos vivir solas, siempre y cuando emprendas en el camino, mires hacia la meta, que vos vas a luchar, vas a llegar. Soy jefa de hogar y soy una mujer que a lo que yo me proponga en el trabajo yo lo alcanzo.
Women like Santosh and Blanca make up 95% of our clients. Another sector that we focus on closely is agriculture, because so many people living in extreme poverty are farmers. Let's hear from Tim, who works with our farmers in sub-Saharan Africa every day.
What strikes me the most about life in a rural community is that it is inherently a life of faith. A constant belief that life will improve despite seemingly insurmountable hurdles. Imagine that your hopes and dreams for the future, that these dreams can be pinned by your faith that a small bag of seed will sprout when planted in the ground, and over the next 4 months grow into a mature plant that produces enough for you to save, and excess for you to sell, and make enough money for your needs throughout an entire year. The faith and trust that farmers must have in the quality of that seed is tremendous. But beyond the basic miracle of germination, there are numerous events throughout a growing season that can threaten that faith. From floods, droughts, pests, and disease, beyond this again, there are also other man-made factors that threaten a farmer's faith. She must believe that she will be able to find a market to sell her crops and that prices will be fair. With just a single paycheck per year, the faith that this will be enough to cover the expenses for the year, enough savings to plant again in the next season, enough profit to afford school fees for your children over the next 3 school terms until the next harvest, and enough tucked away to manage unexpected emergencies like a child's bout of cholera from bad water or malaria from mosquitoes, and then again faith that there will still be some left over to make next year even better than the last. Many farmers here in Malawi repeat the old proverb, "Sokonombwe anata mutundu ndikudumpa." A grasshopper crosses a large field through many small hops.
Now, I hope that as we go through these portraits, you'll share your thoughts in the chat box. Now let's hear from Micheline, a farmer in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is one of the most poverty-stricken areas that Opportunity works.
Valeur ya mwasi koko uta wapi? Fallait ko soutenir mwasi. Bon, tant mwasi ba soutenir. C'est koko zala kaba. Aide nangeza, tango net na minute, papa na bango azate. Nga soki nazi, fallait na renforcer minerva la bana. Tantôt ba 5,000, maman ba 5 biso boy, maman ba 5 frais techniques. Fallait na ça l'effort, frais techniques, ba mso $10 fana pesa. Mwana kozati mwana mabengani na école pour frais technique ezade donc ezaka passe na passe ebanda kozanga bon tanto pesa te bolaki po omoni eloko ezoboma biso mai soki eye tana eloko kozwa suku na mbala liboso na mona bata banki bazwa koluka bata bilanga nasombaki nini ba vitamine tosomba kango na zikida tosombi vitamine tosombi graine ndeko nanga tumoka kenda kosomba graine moko soki eza na sachet me ya dongo kaka eza cher ngabi na osomba te po eza kaka même graine na oba oteka sombaki graine nasombi ngai nasalisi musala na bandi kolona nabuki déjà première fois naozela siko deuxième fois bana ta babimi classe balandi ngai ya mikolo nde po 4 baotanga ya mikolo bakendaka midi baosunga nga mpe na mwa misala mike mike tozalaki na bango tolambi po bautaki na ntongo balandi nga awa tolie ya midi mpe balie bake na bango epesi biso un plus po ya liboso ntango tolonaki toyebaki mpe ndenge ya kosalela te me mateya bapesi biso yango nde naaloba ebandi kopesa kimia po nano toke mpenza te.
Today, a girl in Uganda is 4 times more likely to have a baby than have a high school diploma before reaching adulthood. For her, the future is not full of hope, but it's filled with worry and uncertainty. Education is the most powerful way to break free from the cycle of poverty. But the ability to go to school is a whole different story in rural areas. Most of them travel long, exhausting distances just to go to school, just like this girl here, making her way from her farm to her school. And when they get to school, they're usually very tired and not able to concentrate, as you can imagine. As such, learning time is lost. Children living in the rural areas have the great determination to get educated. They are waymakers each and every day, and you and I can help them realize their dreams.
Luz Dary and Andrea form part of a savings group in the south of Bogota. They live in the area of Casuca, and it is mostly for internally displaced people that flock to the cities looking for safety because the countryside is very violent in Colombia right now. In the case of Luz, she used to be married to a man that was affiliated to the guerrillas. He was assassinated, and she flocked to Bogota with her 6 children. Luz and Andrea are recyclers. Every night they leave their homes, they leave their children in the care of a neighbor or a friend, and they go rummage the garbage around the city, and they look for plastic, glass, metal, and anything of value that they can find in the garbage. After 5 hours of rummaging the city, they go and sell it. Usually they get between 3,500 to 5,000 pesos. So that's around $1.50 a day. Luz Dary was sharing with me her dreams. She dreams of completing her elementary school education, completing her high school education, and becoming a nurse. She's studying in a local center to finish her first few elementary grades. And she does this so her children see that their mother is somebody that moves forward, that has a will to live.
I am always so moved by the stories of mothers and fathers around the world who will stop at nothing to provide for their children. We'll hear more on that from Andrew, who's devoted to making sure children receive a good education.
I've traveled all over the world and met with hundreds of families living in poverty. I've sat on dirt floors of school classrooms and I've listened to their stories. So you would think that cultures would set us apart, or maybe their challenges would divide us. But the thing is, parents all want the same thing. They all want to build a better life for their children. The family you see here wanted the same. Their father, Sekinda, drove a rickshaw taxi for more than 12 hours a day, yet he could still only afford tuition for 2 of his 5 daughters. How could he choose who would attend school and who would stay at home? But when you have determined people like this, true waymakers who won't stop at anything to do better, they seize an opportunity when they find it. And their father, Sekindi, found that chance with Opportunity International. He got a business loan and training, and he used that to take better care of his rickshaw, which meant he could give more rides and make more money. He then took out a school fee loan so he could pay for books, tuition, and uniforms for each one of his 5 daughters. Today, this family's story is one of transformation. Their finances are under control, and the girls are studying to be a doctor, an engineer, lawyer, entrepreneur, and a businesswoman. We can't write a better ending than that. I hope when you see these faces, you see the waymakers of the next generation who will no longer experience poverty thanks to the generosity of people like you.
We are lucky to have angels like Joanna in our midst, people who live solely to make their communities a better place. Here on the left is Joanna with some of the children in her school. Joanna started her school here in Ghana in a rural area where children just stayed at home and the illiteracy rate is very high. She said her school gave the parents the freedom to go to their farms during the day to make enough money and make a living for their families. Not only did she provide an education, but she was dedicated in keeping them healthy. The school is plagued with illnesses and absences, all because of poor sanitation and lack of proper washrooms. In Joanna's own words, she said, "We have to walk 20 minutes from the community borehole to fetch clean water. We're only using 2 local toilets for 200 children. This isn't good enough." She's continuing to add washrooms and toilets because she said, "I have realized that when parents drop off their kids and see that the environment is clean and there is clean water to drink, they are more encouraged to send their children here, and seeing that children are healthy and not getting sick, encourage other people to bring their children to school as well." Joanna is just not making a way for their children to be educated. She's also making sure that they are healthy, their parents work, and the people in the community can live their lives with dignity and hope.
Now we'll hear the story of this next young man, Gentil, from one of our staff members, Noah, who works at the refugee settlement where Gentil lives.
Gentil is an artist who escaped from Burundi. He used to run workshops for young artists, and he was accused by the government of training rebel soldiers, so he had to flee. He now lives with his grandmother and nephews, who he supports in a Kiva refugee settlement. Gentil, just like any other refugees, face challenges of access to finance and income opportunities in the settlement. However, through our partner bank, he received a small loan. He used his loan to set up a local poultry business. He hopes to be able to motivate other refugees into setting up businesses so they can become self-sufficient and not depend on handouts. Gentil's story represents those of over 1.5 million refugees that call Uganda home.
And last, but certainly not least, is audio commentary from Atul on a beloved opportunity client, Linda.
Inside a bread factory in Accra, Ghana, I was greeted by men whose hands were 3 times the width of mine. The baking ovens and the hot Accra sun made the room temperature well over 100 degrees. Suddenly, I feel this big hug around me, and I turn around, and this I soon learned was Linda, the owner of the bakery. And I can tell you, I'll never forget meeting this woman in the blue shirt who you see smiling before you as she did that day. She had gone through a transformation as a client herself, starting with 1 oven under 1 tree, but to this day, the owner of 2 bread factories, making thousands of loaves a day, employing hundreds of men working in the factory, and tens of women who would come and pick up those loaves every day and go and distribute them in the marketplaces in the streets of Accra. I asked Linda how she chose her workers, and she said, well, I find the poorest people living in the community and make sure that they are the ones I employ so they can earn a living, they can feed their families. Why? She had been one of them herself. I tell you, opportunities are powerful. They set off ripple effects of change and transformation, generosity and goodwill. And nowhere was that more evident than inside Linda's bakery under the hot sun in Accra.
Thank you so much for joining me on this tour. After tonight, we'll give you access to the gallery so you can visit it anytime and share with friends. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce board member Janelle Lassonde, who has been an unwavering advocate for Opportunity International. Janelle chaired Opportunity International's Schools of Opportunity campaign and is currently supporting the Waymakers campaign, which will impact 25 million people living in rural areas and extreme poverty. Janelle formerly served as a director of credit risk at UBS and was based in London and Johannesburg, where she led the investment bank's mining and sub-Saharan Africa portfolios. She is a writer and a blogger with a BA from Northwestern University, an MBA from University of Chicago, and a master's in economics from the London School of Economics. Welcome, Janelle. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Erin, and good evening, everyone. That was simply a magical tour. The photo, all the photos, but Sekinder's 5 daughters went straight to my heart because Opportunity's work with schools has been a big passion of mine. But then there was Linda, the bread maker, who we just saw, and the fact that she called on the poorest people in their community to work for her so that they could feed their families. That is just a great example of community. And community is what I knew I wanted to talk about tonight. When I was asked to speak, I thought immediately about a trust group that I had met in Ghana several years ago. Together, they're entrepreneurs who take out microfinance loans together at the same time. They grow their businesses independently, and they serve the collateral, serve as collateral for one another in case someone can't make a payment one week. So these clients that I met in Ghana were holding a meeting in Jamestown, a coastal district in Accra. And as it happens, it was actually the first trip that I was on with Opportunity in 2007. And on this day, I said, you know, could I actually sit with a trust group who's been working together for some time? And okay, now I'm a bit embarrassed. You can see the photo on the screen. I'm a bit embarrassed by the quality of my old photo, but Cynthia is the woman in the black dress. And she's a baker, and she was a secretary of this trust group that had been together for 5 cycles. And she told me in a calm but resolute voice that this group of people, each person was a serious entrepreneur. And I've always appreciated how Opportunity's clients grow their businesses using their own local knowledge and business acumen. And I've loved how we've been able to work in creating personal dignity at the same time. But what struck me about this group in particular was their sense of community. The man next to Cynthia in the group is called Jonah. And Jonah had a transport business, and he told me that this trust group was like family. So I went further and I asked, that's really interesting. Has there ever been a time where this group has had to support one another in some way, like financially even? And straight away, Jonah mentioned another member of the group who'd had an accident, and she hadn't been able to make her loan payments for a while. And so the other members banded together and made the payments on her behalf. That day in Ghana, this was a small issue for the group, but I felt like I was seated among giants. Even with their relatively limited resources, there was no hesitation in supporting one another in a time of need. Theirs was a true community. Now, I know many of you in the gallery here tonight hold dear your own experiences of meeting Opportunity's client giants. These memories only emphasize how long and how many times the world over this organization has been offering handshakes, not handouts, but peer-to-peer empowering handshakes with those living in worlds far more precarious than our own. How much more vital is that handshake today, when our shared planet is heaving under the strains of inequality in so many different forms? My husband, Pierre, and I have been excited to support Opportunity in the past, and we're so excited to continue supporting, again, in this 50th year, in the Waymakers campaign. Together, we are able to address some of the greatest inequalities in the world: poverty, hunger, education, gender inequalities, and we're doing so in a way that is both lasting and scalable. It's lasting because Opportunity doesn't offer a temporary bandage. It offers integral support that creates giants in their communities. It also reaches into these communities and onto future generations of the clients. I mean, think if your parent was given one opportunity, or a great grandparent, and how that has resulted in your own life these days. So the work is lasting. But it's also scalable, and that's thanks to the multiplier effect. We work with a network of financial institutions around the globe who look to us to identify who to serve and how to design products that will best support these people. When we raise private funding, these partners unlock more capital to loan clients. The blended capital creates a multiplier of 10 to 1. And so that means that for every dollar that you invest, you unlock $10 for our clients. Even better, thanks to the generosity of several supporters tonight, I am elated to share that for all gifts tonight, they will be matched up to $75,000. This means that for one night only, through the power of the multiplier effect and the matching gift, we can actually make 20 times the impact. So I hope you'll join me tonight and become a Waymaker. Those of you who do give tonight will be featured on our supporter wall, and we'll share it after the upcoming performance. Now, for my fellow Waymakers on the call tonight, people who already have contributed to this campaign, thank you. Thank you. Your incredible generosity has brought us so far. My ask of you tonight is to share this gallery experience with someone else, to spread the word, to create more Waymakers. And if you're inspired, of course, you're welcome to give again. To everyone else among us tonight, if you are moved, please give. Take a moment and click the link in the chat box and help pave the way to empower more people, to create more giants like the ones you've met tonight. Okay, so while you're doing that, I am delighted to introduce Nick Cosgrove. Nick starred as Frankie Valli in Broadway's Jersey Boys, and he'll be performing You Raise Me Up. It is a gorgeous song, and it reminds me of how powerful it is when our communities of clients, and our community of Waymakers, when these communities come together and lift each other up. So everyone, Nick Cosgrove.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Wow, join me. Oh my gosh, Nick, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That was just amazing, very moving. Thank you. More than anything else, very moving. Join me in thanking Nick. A powerful reminder, the song that he chose to bring to us tonight, of what happens when we help someone. And I want us, each one of us, actually, to take a moment to look back at our own lives. And I can guarantee you that you will find somebody who raised you up, a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, a friend, a teacher, somebody you had never met before, somebody at work raised you up. And today, here you are. I want to thank those who have raised, alongside Opportunity, working with us, tens and hundreds and thousands of the poorest families in the world, above the stormy seas. So thank you so much for that. For those who haven't had that opportunity, I want to welcome you tonight to give. And as Janelle said, your gifts are being multiplied, they impact 20 times. It's a great opportunity to give tonight and to help raise up the next generation, those who are left out and left behind, the marginalized of the world. Linda the baker, and we could spend the rest of the evening talking about Linda and her friends and many others I've met, and even my own life of walking in the neighborhoods in India. And I could tell you the cities and the villages, of seeing the people and looking now, many years later, of where they are as I stand before you. So behind the scenes, our team has been tallying the gifts, and they are, I don't know what the numbers are, but they tell me that they will do what they call the big reveal. So here we are, $83,000 to $83,200. So thank you so much for those who have given, and those who haven't, please continue to give tonight. We'll continue to count the numbers. We are truly thankful for your gifts and what these gifts will do tonight, tomorrow, and the day after in the lives of those who don't have much. As tonight ends and we close the curtain and bring it down, I want to just a quick mention. I hope if you haven't made reservations, if you haven't got the dates on your calendar, April 8th to 10th, we will be celebrating, God willing, our 50th anniversary in person in spring in Chicago. and I look forward to having you join us there. We'll put the link in the register so you can look at the chat box and get the details. So we definitely would want to see you there. Let me invite all of you to stay on for a short reception that now follows, and to talk with each other, to greet people you've known. Nick has agreed to stay on for a little bit and talk about his own journey and to share more about Broadway behind the scenes. And of course, I want to greet all of you. I can see so many familiar faces. I can hardly wait. So with that, for those of you who can stay on, please do. And for those of you who cannot, thank you again for joining us to celebrate Giving Tuesday. Thank you for giving the opportunity. And thank you for giving to whoever you gave tonight. I mean, just like Opportunity, many, many worthy organizations, many worthy causes. And I have, as I've reflected in my own life, what I've understood and seen and observed, people of God's will and people of goodwill joining together to change the world, that's what's going to make a difference. So with that, thank you so much and good night.